account for 40% of global emissions, and therefore working together to reduce this.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you say that again?
The study says China and the US account for 40% of global emissions.
Really? Okay. And
Instead of produce our own weapons, keep getting military from US might make other countries think that we are not strong enough to protect ourselves.
And what's your question? Your question is
Instead of produce our own weapons, keep getting military from US might make other countries think that we are not strong enough to protect ourselves.
yes, but it's real because we are not we are not still strong enough to, right? And yes, it's
30 seconds.
Okay. You think shouldn't we buy weapons because of threat from China? You think it's
I think and we can make it by ourselves.
and protect ourselves?
We can make it by ourselves.
Okay, time is up.
Buying their weapons may help Taiwan to defend sovereignty. Second, America's military is powerful. For example, the most aggressive weapon in the world, no doubt, is a higher-class nuclear-powered submarine, which is made by America. For Trident's missile destroy a large state. Thus, America's military power can't be underestimated. The Capitol Hill's military transaction situation make Taiwan more difficult to be attacked. To offer Taiwan unmanned aerial vehicle, hurl the targets out of howitzer, advanced guided missile and coastal defense system, including coast strike, which can stop warship and amphibious transport dock the island. If we buy this weapon, it will be a great improvement and upgrading of Taiwan's military. said that China and US cooperation on climate change is key to avoiding catastrophe on a global scale. Take 40% on world carbon dioxide emission. How can we prove the 60%? Or how can you make sure that the situation of climate change will become better? China has already carried out the policy of solving the law, but according to the world fossil carbon dioxide emission, the emission of America and China is still on the increase. Of the other countries also increase rapidly. US and China cooperation is not the effective resolution of global climate change. Above all of the factors combined, we disagree the arguments of conside. Thank you.
Okay. So now, Dili, are you here?
Does my microphone have sound?
Yes, we can hear you. I have the second native speech for 4 minutes. And your 4 minutes start now.
All right. China, according to the protein said, China will be a big threat to the world. But a professor in the China Maritime Studies Institute at the United States Naval War College wrote in 2018, though China military is growing, still not enough to be a threat. But if we treat them and purchasing a lot of powerful weapons, they become a real enemy. Second, my opponent said, if US support Taiwan with weapons, that is the only way to prevent war. However, it will cause an offside effect. Benjamin, those two political professors, wrote in 2016, Chinese leaders won't bear this for long, and they will attack quickly as ending. So it might be really dangerous if the US still keep to Taiwan. And the protein said assurance. They said abandons Taiwan. The US will destroy its to other countries. They said other countries, if Taiwan has been taken, other countries will afraid and fear. But the logic is incorrect. Peter Bennett, a professor of journalism, wrote in 2018, protecting Taiwan doesn't mean also protecting other countries. The US put too much effort in expanding military money, which and that would be really the reason they really lost their credibility. And last, the cooperation between China and the US. As I said, China is not a threat to the world. China does want to be the leader of Asia. However, according to Paul Here, National Intelligence Officer for East Asia in the Office of Director of National Intelligence from 2007 to 2015, said in 2019 that China and US try to make a stable relationship between China and the US.
30 seconds remain.
What happens? It will cost a lot. So they both of them don't want to a war happens. So it's the war happens, the chance will be really small. And that's it.
Okay, time's up. Now we will have 1 minute break time for the crossfire and Sonny and D Lee. And start now.
Teacher, can you hear me?
Okay, it's better. Okay.
Okay, Sonny and D Lee. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, now you have 3 minutes for crossfire. Start.
You say that of money that we receive the weapons from America. I think military is a necessary cost. Can you think of any cost is important than cost on military?
The cost to buy military, the cost of, the cost is military given to Taiwan. The cost is for the US. So the US have to afford giving weapons to Taiwan and giving military to Taiwan. And then my question is, you said Taiwan can protect themselves. They have to operate their defense. You say U.S. have powerful weapons, but how can you prove U.S. will let Taiwan buy those powerful weapons to defend themselves?
According to Capitol Hill's military transaction situation, they made Taiwan more difficult to be attacked. They will offer us real vehicle and other weapons.
So those weapons, including those powerful weapons you said. Oh,
D. Lee,
Yes.
if
okay.
you have another question, you can ask. D. Lee,
Any
you can ask another
questions?
question instead of just.
30 seconds remain.
Okay, let me think, but it seems there's not enough time to let me ask another question.
Okay, time is up. And now we are going to have the summary from Anna. Amy and Anna, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, so the first is the affirmative team summary. 3 minutes. And your 3 minutes start now.
Okay. We believe that increasing U.S. military support for Taiwan will create a safer world because of two main reasons. One first contention is deterrence. And that we believe if we do that will make China stand down. Professor Yuan Kang Wang, Taiwan is now still the inferior country. Built me because it's a reality. So why you say Taiwan don't need to receive their military support? Second, Taiwan's military equipment alone cannot defend the island during a large-scale attack. And Major Maza also said Taiwan has bought some military items from the U.S. many times. And for an infiltration, not only in Asia regional, but also in the world. So we need the weapons itself. And next contention is assurance. First, Taiwan's location makes it the most important in Asia security. Professor Wang's opinion proved it. And if Taiwan doesn't have U.S. support, it's easy to take control of some of the largest shipping lanes and change the power and start to quickly increase their weapons. We risk a worldwide arms race with risk war. So that's the two. And with this reason, we propose a plate. And yes, that's all. And that U.S. military support for Taiwan is a good idea. And yeah.
30 seconds remain.
Okay. We are all have evidence to prove it. And I'll say that again. Contention 1 is deterrence, and contention 2 is assurance. And yes.
Okay, time's up. And now we have Anna. Anna, are you here?
Yes.
We will have negative summary for 3 minutes. Start now.
We still agree the United States shouldn't increase its military support for Taiwan. Military support for Taiwan makes a hard war more likely. Our first contention is calming China. First, increased military support of Taiwan will anger upgrading Taiwan's air force and increasing other military support would signal a bigger move to U.S. aggression toward China. An increase in U.S. military support will encourage other countries to take aggressive actions toward China in an effort to defend the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait. If the world begins to cooperate in challenging China, Xi could lash out and attack Taiwan, or else an effort to secure his power. Second, to reunite Taiwan with the mainland. Increasing U.S. military support would only provoke China to do so through violence instead of diplomacy. Though the U.S. has sold Taiwan many weapons in the last few years, the recent sale of offensive weapons to Taiwan has caused China to quickly increase its naval power and invasion plans. Contention is China-U.S. cooperation. First, China's cooperation on climate change is key to avoiding catastrophe on a global scale. An international climate reporter wrote in that China and the U.S. account for 40% of global emissions, and therefore working together to reduce these emissions is necessary. The United Nations also released a report that if the U.S. and China do not cooperate, the world will quickly heat up, caused widespread food shortage, wildfires, and floods that cause the death and displacement of millions of people around the world. Second, the only way to ensure
30
China
seconds remain.
cooperation is for the U.S. to stop increasing its military support for Taiwan. China's distrust of the U.S. is because of the U.S. military support for Taiwan. Thanks to listen.
Okay. And now, later on we will have grand crossfire. So Amy, Sunny, Lee, you have to prepare. Four of you have to do the grand crossfire. You have 1 minute to prepare your grand crossfire. And your 1 minute starts now. Okay, time is up. Amy, Sunny, Anna, Billy.
Yes, I am.
Amy, Anna. Okay. So your 3 minutes for grand crossfire start now.
Okay. Our first question is, you say to ensure China-U.S. cooperation, the U.S. should stop increasing its military support for Taiwan, right? But do you think it's more important than Taiwan's security?
All right. As I say, increasing military support to Taiwan will make opposite effects, because if keep increasing the amount of the weapons to Taiwan, China will see that and fear this. So they might agree and attack
But no
Taiwan
matter,
again.
we will do and
That is not the solution.
angry whatever we do what angry you can
then you see them as the enemy, then they will become the real enemy.
But okay, and and why the relationship between Taiwan and China is so important? I don't think so.
The relationship between China and they are both powerful countries and affect this world, and a lot of things to fix on this globe together to fix those problems. Just like all of us on this world have to work together.
But we need some weapons to protect ourselves first.
Yeah, but the certain we have not enough.
30 seconds remain.
Can you say that again?
All right. The security of us is it enough?
You say you can see many news and they say China often across the seas to warn us. They are dangerous. They are dangerous now.
Okay, time is up. And now we will have final focus for 2 minutes, and the affirmative is the first. So Sunny, you have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, your 2 minutes starts now.
Into our arguments, is the most appropriate choice to receive military support from America. It can not only strengthen our military, but also promotes our cooperation with America. It makes great benefit for Taiwan. And offer Taiwan some novel and powerful weapons. And this will make Taiwan upgrade defensive ability and get stronger. The advantages, disadvantages. If we don't buy any weapons from America, avoid being attacked by China or other countries just by ourselves. Like a lamb to the slaughter, waiting for other countries to invade us one day, which is the worst consequence. Analysis. We urge you to vote for the pro side. Thanks for listening.
Okay. So it's the final focus from negative team. Billy, are you ready?
Does my microphone have sound?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right.
Minute starts now.
The pros say the China is a great threat and they want to be the leader of the Asia and may cause problems on the world. However, I have to say, China is still not a threat to this world, rising just because we see them as enemy. They going to grow in their military, and they the real enemy. So the U.S. shouldn't give military support to Taiwan because it will make China angry. Now will be really attack Taiwan. And second, there are a lot of disease and problems on this world, and a lot of people on this world suffering. China and the US have to cooperate, just like all of us on this world have to fix those problems, like floods or climate problems.
30 seconds remain.
Better save us, to save the humanity, to save the whole world. And we urge you, us, vote for
There we
Kansai.
go. Yeah,
Because
sorry.
this is the way
My
to
computer
save us.
is
And
being
that's
weird
it.
today.
Thank you for your listening.
So yeah, I don't know why my camera's whatever.
Okay.
So
So now
there were
is
some
the
really
ballot
good things
time.
that I heard happening.
Probably we can have
The signposting of
to
the pro said
give
this,
some feedback.
our response is this, or the con said this, and the pro response is this was really good. It helped me be able to keep track very easily what everyone was saying, and so I could
So,
compare the
Sha,
arguments. There were a couple of things that obviously still need work. But that's true,
Sha, are you able to
for
give
all
them some
debaters for all of life.
okay?
But we talked about impact calculus and impact comparison of saying why your position is more important than your opponent's position, and that was missing, which is it's really hard to do. So I totally understand that, but that's really where everyone needs to really work towards of warrants and comparing the two separate worlds that we could have. So for this debate, it would be the pro world is why would America supporting Taiwan military be good or better than not? And then the con team, the opposite of that. Questions are a lot better. They keep improving, but some people didn't have very many questions. So always remember to prepare those, as many as you can. And you don't want to ask questions of do you agree, do you think, and so when we had questions of like why is this important, that was really good, and occasionally couple off guard, which was really interesting. So that's the other thing, is to always think of answers to every possibility as well. But I'm very proud of you guys. Great job. This is much better than last week. So huge improvement from the practice last week to this week. That's what I have.
Okay, so I think the first hour's time is also over. So we are going to have
Yes.
It is 205. Jerry, Joey, Tony, are you here?
Yes.
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 Okay, Shana, are you here? Okay. So now we will have the second debate. Do the same as the good one. So the first one is the constructive speech from the affirmative team. And Yulin, you are the affirmative debater and you have 4 minutes. Minutes. Oh, wait. Okay, Yulin, your 4 minutes. Start now.
But the military support from the US can let China stop the invasion. Yang Kanwang, a political science professor, wrote in 2018 that the US should increase military support for Taiwan because they will make China think it's a trouble
aggress Taiwan, and it can stop China from invading territories. A small military superiority will give China more confidence to invest more resources in its military. So if the US does this, it can prevent China's invasion. Second, Taiwan's military capabilities can defend against China's military threats and force. Wrote in 2019 that Taiwan's Air Force is far from China's and protect from China's attack with these weak military powers. So we need to increase the military to improve our Air Force in order to keep away from China's attack. And the new US fighter jets and the other military assets from the US would help Taiwan have more options in defending itself from other attacks. Includes military support for Taiwan and show how powerful the U.S. national defense is. U.S. and China are two countries that have powerful military resources. Because less many smaller countries would ask for one of them to cooperate. If they see Taiwan could be more peace under U.S. cooperation, they would much willing to go and seek refuge with U.S. And U.S. could have more and more partners with countries. Washington Territory, Vol. 41, number 4, page 65, 83, wrote in winter 2019. That's about China may take action recently will not be taking territory military invest, but build more relationship with others. So if US do that could push more good public press and have more chances to cooperate with other countries. Both lose Taiwan, which is significant to the whole world, will be catastrophic to the world. Hope brings to a professor of global affairs said Leslie had advertised its determination to bring Taiwan back under its control, and if Taiwan was taken from China, it will represent that it will lose its credibility, turning into other countries' wondering. What's more, the CCP said that Taipei has done almost everything the world could have asked of it. It was built in economy and made a transition from dictatorship to democracy. So it's important to the free world whether Taiwan will lose.
Yeah, you finished? Okay.
Yes.
So now you will have the team constructive speech. Jerry, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, your 4 minutes starts now.
We negate the resolution the United States should increase its military support for Taiwan. We do not believe that increasing U.S. military support for Taiwan will create a separate world or decrease Chinese aggression. Observation 1 is the framework. We agree with the definition offered by the pro-team. While supporting Taiwan may help Taiwanese people, Chinese-U.S. relations affect the entire. Therefore, we believe the judge should vote for the team that best stabilize this relationship and encourages cooperation. Our first contention is coming China. Taiwan makes a hard world more likely. First, increased military support of Taiwan will injure China. John Lee, senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, wrote in 2019 that administration focused on cooperation with China. The administration abandoned that strategy. Taiwan's Air Force and increasing other military support would signal a bigger move to U.S. aggression towards China. Furthermore, Lee believes that an increase in U.S. military support will encourage other countries to take aggressive action aggression toward China in an effort to China Sea and Taiwan strike. Already facing trouble in China because people believe aggressive attempts to spread China's influence country at risk. If the world begins to cooperate in challenging China, she could lash out the attack Taiwan or elsewhere to score his power, especially since this is the 100th anniversary for the CCP. China wants to reunite and then increasing U.S. military support would only provoke China through violence instead of diplomacy. Has sold Taiwan many weapons in the last few years. The recent sale of weapons to Taiwan has caused China to quickly increase its naval invasion plans. Kent Wang, senior research fellow, the Studies wrote in 2020 that she has promised to retake Taiwan and has been ordering water-air invasion drills to prepare military. Kent also worries that if China attacks Taiwan, we are likely looking at the next World War due to the importance of the South China Sea. A harsh war over Taiwan will raise the death of thousands of people. Our second contention is China aggression. The U.S. needs to get along with China to solve problems. However, by helping Taiwan, the U.S. insults China's power in Asia and harm possibility of the two countries working
to remain.
Working together to solve world problems. First, China's U.S. cooperation on climate change is key to avoiding catastrophe on a global scale. Somini Sengupta, an international climate reporter, wrote in 2018 that China and the U.S. accounts of global emissions, and therefore working together reduce this emission is necessary. However, the U.S. continuing China only reduce the chance.
Yuling and Jerry, you have 1 minute to prepare your crossfire, and your 1 minute starts now. Yuling and Jerry.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, your 3 minutes for crossfire starts now.
And first, if U.S. does not increase military support for Taiwan, one day China will take Taiwan and control many important sea areas. How will Taiwan solve and face it?
Okay, my answer is U.S. and other countries will help us and fight against China. They can resort to economic or international threat to stop China. Or take Taiwan only when the U.S. provides more military support.
And the next question. Why receiving the military from the U.S. will make the relationship between U.S. and China even worse?
Okay. My answer is increasing military support to Taiwan will signal U.S. aggression. Actions like this will anger China. This makes their relationships worse. Okay.
Okay. Then the next question. How will Taiwan handle the expansion of China without the U.S. military support?
Can you say one more time?
Okay. How will Taiwan handle the expansion of China without the U.S. military support? If U.S. does not include military support for Taiwan, in case China's autocracy expands to more countries until the time comes, can the U.S. serve and face it?
Okay, wait.
Okay.
My question is without U.S. military support, China will choose to maintain peace. They will not take great effort to burst against us.
Okay, time is up. And now we have the constructive speech from the second debater from the affirmative team and negative team. Joey and Tony, are you here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. First, from the affirmative team, you have 4 minutes, and your 4 minutes starts now.
To begin, I would like to respond to first contention, calling China. First, the concept if the world begins to cooperate in challenging China, she could lash out and attack Taiwan or elsewhere in an effort to secure his power. However, Joe Thompson wrote in 2020, prepare to attack Taiwan anytime soon, because Taiwan is growing its military and the relationship with U.S. is unstable. Attacking Taiwan will cause a lot of risk. France is the best option to continue to persuade China that it's not worth invading in the future. Second, the conquest that China wants to reunite Taiwan with the mainland and thus increasing U.S. military support would only provoke China to do so through violence instead of diplomacy. Researcher Joe Thompson said in 2020 that relations between China and the U.S. have been and China did not attack Taiwan, so the U.S. providing more weapons to Taiwan is unlikely in the near future. This means that the U.S. needs to support Taiwan so that China is encouraged to use diplomacy. Furthermore, remember that in our first speech we tell you that for Taiwan to be able to defend itself against any attack, it needs new air defense systems from the U.S. In 2019 that Taiwan's air force is far from China's and we can protect from China's attack with these weak military powers. So we need to increase the military to improve our air force in order to keep away from China's attack.
And newer U.S. fighter jets and other military items from the U.S. will help Taiwan have more options in defending itself from others' attacks. To respond to Convention 2, China-U.S. cooperation. First, the concept that the U.S. continuing to insult China only reduces the chances turning to the U.S. and China do not cooperate to fix these emissions. If increasing the temperature, this would cause the deaths and displacement of millions of people. However, policy analyst Patricia King explained in 2017 that China is unlikely to view Taiwan as something to bargain about. This means that if the U.S. refuses to help Taiwan, it will not improve relations with China. It will not improve the likelihood that China and the U.S. would cooperate over climate change issues. Therefore, the U.S. has no reason to not give more weapons to Taiwan. Finish.
Okay. The constructive speech from the negative team, your 4 minutes starts now. Yes.
Now, we have three responses to the pro team's contention. Economy and military are growing, so we shouldn't cause the war. Increase military spending to forestal. It wouldn't last long. Our weapons are not good enough. We should not cause the war. The situation. The most important area for Chinese domestic politics is the Taiwan Strait. The Chinese military, especially its naval and has begun eroding qualitative advantage by the US would be met with formidable Chinese resistance. The US ability to protect power. The best option for preventing a war is to have dialogues. Confidence building the established a hedge in arms sales would benefit US-Chinese relations by removing the mere stumbling block for developing military ties. Halting does not mean that Taiwan self-defense force would increase the exit response passively. Beijing signals its commitment a competition. Military spending would be difficult to sustain as long as China's spending is also growing. In the Taiwan Strait would lead the mere war between the US and China. Weapons purchase could bring negotiations with China. Restoring US military superiority would damage the US-China's relationship. Oppose the US across the South China Sea trade. Will provide the strong incentive for China to invest even more resources in its military. Its nuclear weapon arsenal. If Beijing quickly offsets stronger military support for Taiwan, the US could end up similar position with a strong China to deter. US strengthen its deterrence posture while a window of still exists, fueled by overconfidence in China's military abilities and the assumption that the US-China balance of in its favor. Okay, that's all.
Okay. Joey and Tony, you have 1 minute to prepare your crossfire. Your 1 minute starts now. Okay, time's up. It's a crossfire time, 3 minutes for Joey and Tony. Your 3 minutes starts now.
I want to ask why the only way to ensure China and cooperation is to stop U.S. military support for Taiwan. Can you explain it?
Well, China believes that support to Taiwan is a way for the US to control China. Reason: the only way to ensure their cooperation stop the military support. Okay, let me ask you.
Oh, okay.
Why will Japan have its own nuclear weapons if the United States does not protect its allies?
Because if Japan will wonder the USS and it represents Japan is losing the USA. So Japan wants to protect themselves, and so Japan was strengthening their office of offensive capabilities and nuclear weapons. So yes. I want to ask, are you sure that China and US relationship will be better? Doesn't receive any military aid from USA. How can you prove?
Stopping the military to Taiwan will the US straight to China. China's distrust of the US will decrease too. Stopping the military support helpful for their relations. And how can you prove that Taiwan's military equipment alone cannot defend the island? Scale attack.
Um, I have said Michael Mazar wrote in 2019,
And
Taiwan's Air Force and other territories are far from China. So we can defend China with this weak power because Michael Mazar was in 2019. Yes. Why the relationship between US and China is very important.
time's up. Time's up.
Okay.
Is the summary from negative team and affirmative team. And Yulin and Jerry, are you here?
Yes.
Yulin, you are the first. is the summary from the affirmative team for 3 minutes. And your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay. U.S. should include military support for Taiwan, saying positive that the first is the military support from the U.S. can let China stop the invasion. Military superiority will give China more confidence to invest more resources in its military. The second that if other U.S. allies decline credibility for the U.S., they will cause a war about territory. New U.S. fighter jets and other military items from the U.S. would help or options in defending itself from others' attack. Third, U.S. includes military support for Taiwan can show how powerful the U.S. defense is. If other smaller countries see Taiwan could be more peace under U.S. protection, they were much willing to go and seek refuge with U.S., and U.S. could have more and more partners with countries in Taiwan, which is significant to the whole world, will be traffic to the world. It has built a strong market economy and made the transition from dictatorship to democracy. So it's important to the free world whether Taiwan will lose. Context two is assurance. First, the military support from the U.S. can let China stop the invasion. If the U.S. protects Taiwan successfully, can give more sense of safety to its partners. If not, they may make more powerful weapons, and it may be dangerous to the whole world. Second, if other U.S. allies declare credibility for the U.S., they will cause a war about territory. This will make every country's security and trust wars turn into war because countries begin to compete for more weapons. Third, for fight against the war of China, avoid territorial and the rise in expansion of China. It's necessary to U.S. to protect Taiwan from becoming territory of China. First, if U.S. does not control
30
Asia
seconds remain.
Pacific Mediterranean domain, China will ready to start winning anytime. For tackling the problem that China only expands its territory but have more and more arguments with boundary countries at its roots. U.S. should protect taken by China. So we think that U.S. should increase military support for Taiwan. Thanks for listening.
Okay. The summary from the negative team. Jerry, your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay. I will be addressing the two main voting issues of today. Explain one. The U.S., who has a strong weapon arsenal and modern weapons, stands up to against China. This makes China because China thinks that the U.S. is interfering with no efforts. If China cannot get Taiwan, no one else can. So China will not attack more frequently and aggressively, affecting the people's life in Taiwan, economy and global stability. Other countries such as Japan and Korea may find worse avoidable. They will even actively strengthen their weapon. In this way, the arms race and military drills will cost countries a lot of and peace and economy. When the U.S. gives more military support for Taiwan, China will be angry. Will stop cooperation with the U.S. in many ways. Both the US and China are powerful countries, are influential issues of climate change. If China is angry, it will not keep working change, and the world war will suffer the loss which is caused by this. To think about the world, the US must stop its military support for Taiwan. That's all.
Now you have to prepare your sorry. Next is the Grand Crossfire. So Yulin, Jerry, Joey, and Tony, you have 1 minute. The Grand Crossfire. Your 1 minute starts now. Okay, time's up. Joey and Tony, are you here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, your 3 minutes for Grand Crossfire starts now.
Okay, I go first. Why does the U.S. increasingly support the military in Taiwan? China will attack Taiwan. Can you explain it? Next question. Now, China's military has been increasing. If the United States doesn't give Taiwan military support, can we be safe? Final question. Why will China be angry with the military support to Taiwan?
Okay. First, U.S. military support to Taiwan provoked China, and China to quickly increase its naval power. She promotes to retake Taiwan, already begun the invasion drills. Can you say the second question again?
Now, China's military has been increasing. If the United States Taiwan military support, can we be safe?
Okay, wait. Okay, my answer is China only be provoked when the U.S. give support to Taiwan, and if the U.S. stops the military support to Taiwan, China would aggression would decrease. This is my answer.
Okay, wait, we got one question.
You haven't answered.
Just oh,
Yes.
Okay.
And can you say again?
Why will China be angry with military support to Taiwan? Why will China be angry with?
My answer is military support to Taiwan may encourage other countries to take aggressive actions to China. China is about to face a great threat. Force China to be aggressive. This is my answer.
We got one question.
Time is up.
So,
And now is the final focus for 2 minutes. And the first one is from the affirmative team, Joy.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
And your 2 minutes for final focus starts now.
The conflict said that military support for Taiwan will cost the world, making China want to take Taiwan more and make it possible to break the cooperation between China and US in terms of climate change, and so cause disaster for the whole world. And now that China is getting more power with its military, if China really attacks Taiwan, how to Taiwan protect itself? Receiving the military from the US not only protect ourselves but also making good relationship with the US. We should increase our military from the US. First, the military support from the US can let China stop the invasion. Now, China's military weapons are stronger than ours. If we don't improve that, it will show the world that we don't have enough power to defend from China's attack. And if we have no military support, it will make China think it's a trouble against Taiwan, and it can stop China from invading territories. Taiwan, which is important to the whole world. The CCP said that Taipei has done almost everything the world could have asked of it. It has built a strong market economy and made a transition from dictatorship to democracy. So it's important to the free world whether Taiwan will lose. Third, what's more, it won't let the US decline its credibility to other allies. If other countries don't believe that US credibility, this will make every country's security and trust worth praying toward, because countries begin to compete for more weapons, even cooperating with China. They will make Taiwan's situation more serious, and the whole world will become more unstable. So increasing the military support is good to Taiwan and USA. Please vote for Broad Team. Thank you for your listening.
Okay. Now, Tony, you just 2 minutes for the final focus.
okay. We'll be going over the couple of these issues
All
and then
right.
moving on.
Great job today.
Elaborating the
There's
two
a
voting
couple of
issues
things.
on our case.
Is
China wants
remember
to
not to
reunite
speak
Taiwan
super
with the
quickly,
mainland.
because it's
Military
hard to
support
understand you when
will
you
only
speak too
provoke
quickly,
China.
especially online.
Violence instead of
So
diplomacy.
there was that happened a couple times in this debate, but that's
2020
okay.
said the
I'm
US
sure
has sold
nerves
Taiwan many
are the reason
weapons,
for that.
and
So
these
just work on
actions
slowing down
will let
when you're
China
talking.
quickly increase its naval
There
power
is better
and invasion plans.
comparison
Maybe it
in
will cause
the
the
last
next
speeches
world
this
war.
time of
The only way
why
to ensure China
either side was more important.
is for the US to stop increasing
One of the
its
things though that I
military
noticed
support for
in
Taiwan. The
Crossfire
cooperation between
was
US
that
and China.
there
The
was
US must
the
stop
negative
increasing
team or the
military
con
support
team
for Taiwan.
didn't ask very many questions. They let the pro team ask a lot. So remember, you can say,
Okay.
well, we have a question,
So
that we need to
now,
ask
Fiona
before
to
we
give
answer
you some
another
feedback.
stuff like that, so that you're able to get some of your questions answered, and you are able to show the judge and the audience that you are knowledgeable and ready to go. And then the other thing is, I'm sure most of you noticed this, the need to practice reading and really knowing the words and understanding the things that you're saying, because some of you had very short speeches, and so you could have said more. But I think a lot of that problem was probably you were speaking much faster than you practiced because you were nervous. But good job. Still needs to work on the warrants and the impacts and the telling us why, but very good job. Very proud of you all. That's all I got.